Hey, everybody, I'm Chad Taylor, and you are here on the Mentor Empire podcast set, Human Connections, episode 11, September 11th, which is kind of unique actually because the first time I met this young man, a special guest we have today, after I worked with him for a little bit, he decided the military was the best bet for him. So I want everybody to meet Mr. Bradley Louder.
What's going on, Chad? How are you?
I'm great, man.
You know, it's an interesting type of day, you're right, with what happened
It is.
22 years ago.
Is it really 22 years
Yeah.
ago?
Time flies.
That's a long time. How long ago did you and I meet?
I think we met, I want to say it was like 2014, 15?
Were you 17 or 18 years old?
17?
17.
Yeah.
17, I remember.
Yeah.
I think you were, you were almost 17. I think we golfed a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a pretty good golf game. And you worked over at the Sahara building. I was working on in Vegas.
Yep.
Doing some cleanup over there.
Like mopped the shop. I, sprayed it down with the compressor and just made it just spot clean.
That you did. It was preparing you for the military, wasn't it?
Yeah, it gave me some insight of, what work, is like as, almost a man. Yeah.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about that. So today's obviously a day to remember, for sure. Make sure we put that out there, something we think about. And that sparked a whole bunch of things, which you ended up being, you weren't drafted, but you decided to go into the military. And tell me why you did that. Give me a little backstory about you real quick. Like, where are you from? Where are you raised?
Yeah, so I was raised in Colorado.
Okay.
And I played a bunch of sports. I rode dirt bike, raced dirt bikes, played golf, swim team, competitive swimming, did the 520 laps in like 5 minutes and 28 seconds. Got varsity when I was a freshman, got varsity when I was a sophomore. Then I decided to move to Vegas with my family, and that just was more focused on golfing. I wanted to just take golfing all the way to college.
How old were you when that happened?
I was like 16.
All right, so
Yeah.
you grew up in Colorado, and then
Yep.
about 16 years old when you moved to Vegas.
Yep.
That makes
And
sense.
I was just in love with golf. That's all I wanted to do.
Right.
So moved to Vegas, and didn't really click with the school I was at. So I figured, let's get my GED. And, that's where I fell into, just, messing around with, alcohol and weed. And, it definitely took a toll on my potential.
So you feel like growing up the whole time, when the change of locations changed, it changed your mindset a little bit. Not to mention, it's like just close to or after puberty age too. Like, you're just going to change naturally, but
Yeah.
also a big move changed, and you're in a different place, different location, new friends. It's
Yeah.
kind of.
And I met some really solid people that I still have, contact today.
Nice.
But it was like maybe two I can count that
Right.
versus, the kids that I grew up in Colorado at that
Right.
school. We partied and stuff, but a lot of those guys, they really got their stuff together. Now one of them's a Navy SEAL. And,
Really?
It's like we all messed around and we all have fun when we're young, but yeah.
What would you say if you would look back on it? Would you say that choosing the military was an absolutely great choice for you at that time, that age?
I think it was the best outcome with where I was, going
Yeah.
at that particular time. I just was so endoused in let's just smoke weed, let's just drink.
You were searching for who you were, right?
Yeah, and I thought I had this new age type of mentality of like, this is making me better. I'm going to be advanced. I'm going to I'm gonna figure out how to really figure out life,
Right.
and by smoking this plant. And I'm like, you know, and it kept on pushing me back and back and back, further and further. And then I joined the military, and it was like I got a dose of just clarity, and it really shaped me into uh, going back to my old habits of just I love to go to the very highest potential that the human body is capable through fitness, through health, through just your mind, and how you take care of all that is just so important by staying, sober. And
Yeah. What are
that,
you? Are you like a David Goggins?
yeah, that's I've really looked up to the way he comes across. I didn't know about him until I saw him running down where I live here in
Right.
Vegas. Saw him running down the street, and I was like, "Who's this guy? He's
Yeah.
shredded. Looks like he's, from another planet."
Right. I
And
think he
just
is actually.
he
Yeah.
is. I wouldn't doubt it. With what he's been through.
He's definitely got a very hard. He's definitely got an edge to him that some people like, some people don't like. But all in
Yeah.
all, the most beautiful thing about him is it's what he wants to do. He's not
Yeah.
pushing it on anybody else. He's just like, this is me. It's who I am.
And I was so um, inspired by the way that he comes across with, being filmed while he's
Yeah.
running, and he just gives you this advice of, whatever you're going through, just focus,
Yeah.
do you, don't let all these negative things impact you.
Do you find that you watch? Do you watch quite a bit of him? Do you do TikTok?
I don't, no, I
No?
don't do TikTok.
Where do you see him come across? Facebook,
It was Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah.
All right.
And I don't keep up with them that much, but when I enjoy when I see them on there, because I try to stay off the Instagram stuff. Like, I don't like watching videos too long. We live in such a generation where technology is becoming such a habit for the youth. It's all they know. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember when I was playing in my sandbox with a little dirt bike, making a little dirt bike track, and that was my iPad. It's like I just miss that type of pureness.
Yeah. Do you ever wonder though? Every generation does something different than the next generation, and this is just kind of the generation that we have. So do you ever wonder the kids that are into tech and advanced and on their phones a lot or understand it? Do you ever wonder if your kid doesn't understand it, how far behind they may or may not be to the next generation because they're so advanced? They know how to trade. I got people at the coffee shop know how to trade crypto now. I pulled up to the coffee shop a couple days ago, and one of the kids I talk with says to me, he says, "Chad, I made a scalp. I scalped for 16 grand." I was like, "You're working at the coffee shop and you just scalped a trade for 16 grand?" I lost my mind. Like, because they understand technology and they are advanced and they do keep up with stuff, the opportunities to earn for them are different than those who don't potentially. So I always wondered about my kids, and I thought, I can't have them completely away from technology because I don't want them behind. It'd be like not teaching math to your child
Yeah.
while everybody else went through math. So I feel like there's got to be some sort of balance where they have to understand technology, otherwise people are going to run right by them.
Well,
in a
and you're
competitive
totally
world.
right. And with my type of faith that I believe in, like
Yeah.
I'm a Christian, and if you really look at the world right now with the technology and the advancements, what they're doing right now is they can almost create a child to be already
I think,
advanced.
yeah, I think it's already been done.
Just yeah, and it's like if your child doesn't take the advancement, whatever that is,
Mm-hmm.
your child's going to be that odd one out, but
Potentially.
I feel as if there is a sole purpose for not taking a advancement, of being able to do calculus at 9 years old, or
Right.
or 4, whatever that advancement is. I feel like if you just become organic and you just live a almost old school type of, just you get your feet on the earth and you just live, and you just are, your soul is so fulfilled not knowing all this information, but knowing how to survive and how to, basically
Live off the land.
live off the land or something
Right.
like that. I wouldn't say like so out of the world, like,
Yeah.
but we live in like a time where everything's so advanced and it's advancing so fast.
Super fast. Might not recognize it in 10, 15, 20 years.
I
And-
think in the next 3 years, give it 3
Wow.
years.
Nice. So you brought a notebook with you.
Yeah. I just wanted to, bring up some of my lifestyle thoughts now that I'm just out of the military now,
Yeah.
and where I want to go with life and how do I stay so disciplined.
Yeah.
You know, my message, right, is, what I say to myself before I make a decision. I say, what am I doing? What is it doing to me? What is it doing to others around me? And it's so important that I ask that, to me. And because everything has a consequence to
Mm.
the people around you, to yourself, and I feel as if I ask that, I really come to a realization, is that important enough to do? Is that something I really want to do?
So overall is be responsible for your actions and be conscious
Yeah.
of your actions and your decisions,
Yeah.
as they do affect you, and they do affect others. Something I probably didn't learn until my late 30s. My actions affect others greatly. I learned it even more most recently in some hard, challenging times. But my actions do affect me. My actions do affect others. So thinking about how they affect others, as you said, I think is very important. I think that's a great life objective and thought process to look forward to.
Yeah, it's, I think we all have that challenge. And
Yeah.
we're all going to keep on having that challenge. But we just have to do our best.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's no handbook here. Well, there's
Right.
a few of them. Depends on which one you want to follow, right?
there's
All right.
there's so many
I like that
handbooks.
one. Give me some more.
I kind of like the idea of talking about nutrition for kids because I have a son. His name's Eli. He's 4 years old. And I have him on a very powerful, strong multivitamin,
Mhm.
DHA, which is omega 3. It's a liquid.
Right.
And he takes that about every day. That's for brain development. The multivitamin is just for a strong, healthy immune system, and it allows him to take on the vitamins that he's deficient in. If you know how kids are when they're 4, they don't like to eat
Right.
some of the stuff that you give them. So,
Right.
Having a vitamin to supplement for certain minerals and vitamins that he doesn't get, through food, is very important for their brain function. And it's been such a journey to see my son grow, and he has so much intellectual, like he will run up to somebody and just start talking to him, doesn't even know him, while I'm walking into the gym, and he'll just have a conversation, just jabble, just da 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 da, I'm going to
Very
the gym.
outgoing, huh?
Yeah, just
Nice.
and that is so basically fulfilling as a father. And we have this problem in America with kids having autism,
Hmm.
and I'm very, very I want to know why. So I do.
You keep doing research and
Yeah.
things and try and figure
I
it
want
out.
to figure out why. And
There's a lot of stuff
you
out there
know,
on it.
a lot of people say it's this or that, but I believe that if you give your kids the right nutrition, exercise, and a good foundation at home of like morals and principles and maybe biblical views, if you have those,
Values.
that foundation, your kid has such a potential to be something great in this world.
Your kid's 4 years old. How old are my
Yeah.
kids?
I believe you said you have an 18
Better believe it. 18-year-old and a 15-year-old.
and a 15.
And
Two girls.
Yeah, I feel like I did really well raising them.
You
I
did.
feel. You notice I said I feel like I did really well raising them. You never know till it's done. I've had more
Yeah.
challenges with my oldest one. She was actually on this podcast, one of the first episodes. I've had more challenges with her since she turned 18 than I did for the first 18 years. She was like the perfect child till she was 18.
Well,
at least
that's the
what I
thing.
thought she was.
I can look back at my 18, and it was like I didn't join the Army till I was 21.
Yeah.
So I didn't right away go into the Army.
Mm.
I had some, like, obviously
Challenges there.
I wanted to, do whatever I wanted to do. I wanted to just, party and just have fun and don't worry about all the military stuff or whatever I wanted to do as a career. So, I mean, you have that, your brain's not developed, especially if you start adding drugs and alcohol to the mix. How far is that going to take you back to get back to?
Does an 18 or a 19 and 20-year-old really care?
They don't understand. They
don't understand. So how do you ever explain it to them? How are they ever going to get it? Like, what do you say to an 18, 19, 20-year-old that just wants to party and have a good time and realizes that there's consequences to their action, but have never experienced a real consequence to their actions? So they continue to do until it's almost like you can't tell them anything. You want to fix it, you want to change it, but you can't control or guide them. I mean, you can be there, answer questions.
Well, I think, with, my Christian faith, it's like you got to pray. You got to pray out loud. You got to really have faith, and, you can move mountains.
Do you watch Joe Rogan?
Yeah, sometimes.
He just had somebody on. Who's the guy sung Richmond, North of Richmond, that's all over the air right now? He sings a song, and I guess he was on the Rogan show.
The guy with the beard?
Yeah, guy with the big beard. I guess he's fairly...
new into the music?
No, he's fairly, I don't know what they call in religion, devout.
He's Christian.
Yeah, I don't know what he is.
Solid Christian.
But he's definitely, he was reading from the Bible on like Joe Rogan show and stuff.
That's awesome.
I thought it was cool. But I also thought it was, and it's neat to see someone convicted in their understanding of who they are, what they are, and what the world is.
Yeah, and, I don't go to a normal, just a big mega church. I go to a church. My pastor's going off about what's going on. He's nice. Calling it out for what it is. And we live in a time where, censorship and stuff like that. It's like you say one thing wrong on the internet, all of a sudden we're
on the
kicked
internet
off.
Right now. You could say something wrong right now.
Right.
Get canceled.
Right, and
we can't. I'm nobody, so I can't get canceled.
Well, that's the thing. It's all algorithms and analytics, and that's the future is data.
Yeah.
That's the oil now is data.
Yeah, for sure. So what else you got on this list here? I liked your first ones.
You ever heard of Jim Rohn?
Yes.
I listened to a seminar, and I just took some notes, and honestly, really impacting just how he just says what he says, and just, so I took a bunch of notes, and it just really helped me kind of put together how am I supposed to live day to day, and how am I supposed to be, and how am I supposed to plan and make goals, and why do you do that, So it was a lot of information about, why do you write goals? It's because you check them off, and when you check them off, you get that good feeling, right? And
it's dopamine. It's an accomplishment.
Yeah, and you're supposed to celebrate when you do something great, Don't ever, just say, oh, I'm not going to celebrate, It's like you're supposed to have those joyful moments, and enjoy. But again, don't get trapped into, oh, I got to go drink, or I got to go smoke weed or something like that. I think doing something like that it's so easy for us to do, you know.
Mm-hmm. What do
But
you think the difference is between those who choose and those who choose not to? Do you think it's
yeah,
chemical? Do you think it's genetic? Do you think it's biological?
I think it's lifestyle choices. It's just
I've seen both sides. I've seen super great parents, super strict. It's coin flip. You go either way. Kids are going to run one way or run another way.
100%.
Yeah.
And you got to just raise them to the best of you can. And
But
sometimes they stray. But
environment does have a lot to play for it. All right. We're going to, let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about environment. That's important.
environment,
Yeah.
like,
Let's talk about environment, the environment you're in, and how that drives some of your decisions. We'll take a break here real quick, and we're going to come right back. So we are here back second segment. We're going to talk about what we're going to talk about.
environment.
That's right. We're going to talk about environment. But you're on the Mentor Empire podcast. This is Human Connections, and I'm with Bradley Lauder. And I just want to say that one of the whole reasons, well, Bradley here. Number one, we just reconnected recently. Worked together in the past a little bit when you were younger, but we reconnected and at a really crazy time. Like it always happens at crazy times. The last month was pretty tumultuous for me. Like it was a very challenging month. It's still a very challenging month. I'm working through that. And so you showing back up into the picture was pretty unique, and then
Yeah.
helped me out a little bit was awesome. It was something I needed severely at the time. So like you were placed into my life just at a moment that was perfect. So I want to thank you for that publicly. Like thank you.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned
You're
putting the podcast set together and the new set. We didn't have AC at the other one, so we filmed the first 10 episodes, and then summer hit, and then we didn't have air conditioning, so we had to stop. And we've just been stopped for 4 or 5 months now. And everybody's like, "Where'd you go? What happened? What? Just drop off?"
But so much motivation to think how far you could have gone, you know?
Yeah, if I cared about how far I could have gone. So here's the point of this show, right? This is called Human Connections for a reason. I think that into the future, my own personal opinion, is that we will and do need currently more human connections and conversations with people
Mm-hmm.
that maybe aren't for a specific ends. It doesn't need to go viral. I don't have to have a billion followers. Like, if that happens, great. I don't think I'm interesting enough for it to happen. But if it did, fine. But the real piece here for me is connecting with people and listening and learning, and that's the purpose for me. Is I want those connections, and it's really unique also what it did for me and what I see it do for other people. And you mentioned you being on the show, and once you're on camera and you kind of let that stuff out, it relieves something. And I don't know what it relieves just yet. I can't explain it, but there's a calmness after you've said it publicly.
Yeah.
And maybe that can flow into all kinds of things, but it really is, it's pretty neat. So let's talk about environment a little bit. You were talking about the guy you were watching. What's his name?
Jim Rohn.
Jim Rohn. I feel like Jim Rohn's like a sales training teacher or something. Who's Jim Rohn?
He did a bunch of personal development.
Personal development stuff.
Yeah.
Got
But
it.
sharp. He was actually the personal development coach for Tony Robinson.
Yeah. What a dream.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the guy just had this type of charisma.
He connected
him.
with you.
Yeah, it just. I mean,
Yeah.
you watch him and you're just. For me personally, I was like, wow, that is the way you're supposed to walk around here in this earth.
Nice.
You're supposed to be happy and glad, and obviously, we have emotions, and it goes up and down, left and right.
Yeah.
We're gonna battle with those things, but
Mhm.
how do we face the negativity is so important.
Yeah, you got a solution for that? How to face the negativity?
Well, number one, for me, because
Yeah.
I'm such an addicted personality. So
Right.
find something that's actually beneficial to your addicted personality. Don't just say, okay, I'm down. I'm going to go drink. I'm going to go have a couple beers with the buddies.
Right.
Find another solution that benefits your future,
Got it.
your tomorrow, your next minute, your next second.
So instead of doing something negative, jump down and do like 50 push-ups.
I go to the
Net
gym,
return on
you
50
know.
push-ups is good for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. We live in a generation the youth is being so, victim mentality
Mm.
in some type of way.
Yeah, there's a lot of victims out there,
And
young and old. Quite frankly, I see it everywhere.
everybody's getting Uncle Sam treatment.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it's not. It's crazy how there's an opinion on everything. Obviously, everybody has an opinion on everything based on who you are, how you were brought up, your environment, your morals, your values, your ethics, whatever you were taught. And I don't
Yes.
wonder sometimes, though, does any of it mean anything other than just for you? I question that quite a bit.
Well, you're the main character.
There you go.
You know, we live in these bodysuits, what I view,
Sweet.
and we're here temporarily. This is not our home.
That'd be cool. Are aliens real? Are they coming?
I think the aliens have probably been here already.
Really?
Yeah, they're walking amongst us. They're,
Nice.
hiding in bodysuits.
Renee, did you know there's aliens?
I mean,
We're in
you look at
trouble.
the government; they're coming out with all the disclosures, and a lot of
Yeah.
people think, oh, it's just all bogus, but they don't.
How cool.
You
How
know,
cool would it be to have aliens?
They're
Aliens are real.
preparing for the time that they do say,
Well,
hey, they're here.
Sweet. Well, maybe when they're here, we could wear more human shirts. Since we'll really have to define between aliens and not. Do you think we should let aliens wear the human shirts, or maybe we give them human shirts, or should just
mean-
humans wear the human shirts?
I mean, you don't know if they're nice or not. Who knows if they even want to wear a shirt? They might,
Yeah, they might wear a shirt.
might.
Well, we'll start it out for humans. We'll see what happens. So tell me a little bit more about a few of these positive things in your life here that you focus on.
Well, for me, when I write down notes about what someone I'm inspired by,
Mhm.
I really find something that I click with, and here's one thing. It says, "Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills." What does that mean for you?
I'd remove the word wish. I don't wish for anything. Do or do not. I think Yoda said it, right? Do or do not. There is no try. If you want something in life, you have to achieve it. If you want to achieve it, you're going to have to educate yourself. If you have to educate yourself, then you need to do the work to get it. So there is no wishing. You can wish in one hand and shit in the other, and tell me which one fills up first. So no wishing, but I understand what he's saying, right?
Right.
If you're going
Faith,
to wish, if you're going
wish.
to manifest, if you're going to, if you whatever you're going to do, pray, whatever
Vision.
it is. Yeah, if you want to put that positive out there, and
Mhm.
as long as you know that you're putting the work to get it done, yeah, you're the only one that can. You're the player. What do they call it? Player one.
Player one.
Main
You're the
player?
main character.
What do they call the secondary players in the games like GTA?
Third
or
person.
Third person. Got it. Yeah, I don't game, so I don't know.
I don't even game. I
Yeah.
got rid of my game system when I was like sophomore, maybe just
Gotcha.
freshman in high school.
Gotcha.
I figured if I'm going to spend all this time on this game console, why not spend it in reality instead of on artificial reality?
It's a good one. So more skills. Yeah, more skills. Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
100%.
I could teach you when we leave here. I could walk out and show you how to make, I don't know, $1,000 a day trading Bitcoin. Did you know how to do it before? No, but I could show it to you, and you'd have that knowledge, and then you could do it every day. Like, that's how powerful knowledge is. That's on the money side. If you needed to understand compassion, we could go out and we could teach you compassion. I think that's part of what the Mentor Empire is for me. Is it's about teaching. It's about the transfer of knowledge from one person to another. That's it. And there's no other purpose behind it other than promoting that, right? Help others, teach others, transfer knowledge, wisdom. It's very helpful. Look how helpful it is
Very.
for you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could just zoom out and say, I'm going to take this and I'm going to build on it.
And for
Make
what
it better.
purpose? And for what purpose, right?
Well, everyone has their own purpose.
Right. So, like right now, you're on a little mission. What is your little mission that you're on? You mentioned a couple things to me.
So I have a YouTube channel I just started, and
Nice.
my main goal is to involve my son, and
Okay.
to have him as a catapult and a inspiration for the next generation.
Okay.
He's the next generation
Mhm.
that's going to take everybody's spot in the sense of
Mhm.
the future. So I want him to really embrace whatever comes out of my channel. I want him to be excited. I want him to be doing something he loves, like swimming. I want to embrace the moments that I have with him and be creative because I
Mm.
love creativity. I love music. I love film. I love, you know, editing. And I just want to show people that, you know, how important it is to keep kids uh, inspired.
Do you want to show people, or do you just want to do it and naturally, because you're doing it, you're going to record it because you're showing that it can actually be done? So you're not actually
Yeah,
trying to show anybody. You're trying to show yourself, right? Because it's something you're doing for you. Your
yeah.
player one,
I want to give back
right?
to other.
You want to show that it's possible.
It's possible to just be the best you can and to lead children on the right direction through nutrition, health, exercise.
And I bet there's a lot of parents out there that would love to watch some of that, right? See how you're doing it and
I mean,
helping
it could
along.
spark one kid's imagination
Yeah.
into saying, "I want to dive at, you know, I want to learn how to swim. I want to, like, I have my son diving for toys that he likes with goggles on, and
Nice.
he goes all the way down to the bottom of the pool. I pull him. He holds his breath at 4 years old, and he just swims up, and he knows, and he's just totally comfortable.
Very
No
nice.
issues. No, you know, and
That's rad.
it's kind of it's inspiring to see a young child doing that.
So you're being inspired enormously by children, by your child specifically, but you could now say, looking back at 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old you, didn't know what you want to do, just partying, having a good time, went into the military, found a little focus, a little direction, probably started achieving some self-confidence,
Mm-hmm.
which started to change your actions, met somebody, ended up ultimately having a child. Child's 4 years old. Through this journey and this path, how important to that child, how important to your life path was that child? How much changed when you realized that you weren't the most important and there was something more important than you that you had to take care of? Because that's when you learn selflessness, is when you have a
Mm-hmm.
child and you come home and you're hungry. And I'm speaking like, I'm speaking for my wife because she did way more than I did, probably. Well, she did. She did. You come home and you're tired and you just want some rest, and the kid's crying and colicky, and you got to feed him, and you can't eat yourself, but you got to feed the kid first, and that frustration. I mean, that's when you truly realize what it's like to be selfless. Like, I have to take care of something other than me first. How important would you say that's been for you and changing your direction?
Oh, that's just manifest into I want to embrace what I love more than ever.
Mm.
And I want to strive to become the best I can be, and for the sole purpose so my son can look back and say, this is what you've created, and help me have some stepping stones to where I'm at now. And
You want him to be proud.
creating,
You want him to be proud of you.
yeah, creating those
Mm-hmm.
stepping stones of creativity and intellectualism and independentness,
Mm-hmm.
those are so vital to a child at a young age. If you ingrain those things into them, they can do anything they want, and they're going to love what they do versus, grow up in a world where they're just, oh, I have to show up and I don't like my job and I can't wait till it's Friday. You know, we live in such a, we don't need to choose those things, but people box their creativity into that.
Mm.
But again, we have to have empathy because not a lot of people are fortunate enough to have the ability to maneuver like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, while you and I are deciding how to parent our children and going back and forth through that kind of stuff, you're at one age, I'm at another. There's other people there that don't even have a choice of how to parent their children. They're being served up unfortunate events or circumstances that
Absolutely.
in a
And
different way. So
we should
that's
have
something you gotta think
total
about.
empathy towards single dads or single mothers,
Yeah.
because there's the ones out there that are, they have to go full time at work and pay the
Yeah.
bills, and if they don't, their child's not eating. And you know
Yeah.
we have to look back 30 years ago. It's a way different world we're living in right now versus 30 years ago.
And 30 years before that, and 30 years before that, and 30.
Yeah.
Can you imagine all the changes? What the horse and buggy did when somebody saw it? What the first locomotive did when somebody saw it? They're like, what are we living in? These people are going to travel? Wait a minute. You're complaining about your airline seat because you're too cramped? Was that comedian? He's like, you're sitting on a chair flying through the sky. Let's stop complaining.
And you got to ask yourself, I always tell my friends, because I'm so into nutrition and health, and I've researched so much that, I took action.
Yeah.
And I tell them, I say, if you look at the food, the water, if you take it in all of it in consideration,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of products in the USA are banned in Europe.
And isn't it funny how we just gloss over that too? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, then the
But
day
it
goes
should
by.
matter, and it should be
Yeah.
a concern. But
Yeah.
we live in a beautiful country
Mm-hmm.
that is still the freest in the world, and we get to still choose
Mm-hmm.
if we're informed. Like what you said, you give out knowledge, because
Mhm.
knowledge is power. If we're informed, we can make better decisions, and we can find a product that doesn't have all that garbage in it that we get in the United States.
Sometimes you can inform people and they still want to make a decision that's not best for their health. I'm a prime example of that.
And we all
I
fall short.
I still vape, right?
We
Like,
all
I
fall
still
short.
love my nicotine. Is it good for me? Heck no. Is it good for my lungs? No. Do I still do it? Yes.
Right.
Right? Like, even if you give them, that's part of the thing. You've seen clips of, I wouldn't say diplomats, but like in Congress, or even you've seen clips of Obama, saying that people can't make decisions for themselves. We need to make them for them. And they're taken out of context, because there are things that he said. There are things that people have said, like, people can't make good decisions. You have to make it for them. It's not wrong. There was a study, there was a thing done in Germany. Germany had destroyed their environment, their clean water, everything. It took them almost 30 years to get it back. But you know what they did? They put in some really strict rules. And I would totally disagree with anybody if we're having like a personal argument. I guess I'm doing it on camera now. But like, they had to force these rules, like for water heaters and how we dispose of things and what we're doing to the groundwater. And they went very, I guess, leaned in a direction that I wouldn't be happy with, living in a free country, and tell me what I can and can't do, essentially. But they did it, and they fixed their environment. I can't give you specifics, but you should look it up. Like, how did Germany, regain their groundwater, clean groundwater, and read some of those stories. I never remember who or what it's by. I just remember the premise of it and what it meant. But they did. They forced some rules. They told you what you can and can't do, because you can't make the right decision for the place you live, and they fixed it. So it's a reality. So you give people the choice, they still might not do it. They have to have a why or a reason. Like, why? Why should I? How does that affect me now?
And you're totally right. We live in a time where people want instant gratification.
More and more so, probably.
More and more so, because
they don't understand the opposite.
When we look at these phones, the dopamine is going off. When we go through Instagram and we got all those likes, we're getting dopamine trips. And those, throughout time, build and build, and finally we've been doing it for what, 6, 7, 8 years, maybe 2010 when they come out with these things, 2008, 2007 iPhones came out.
Oh man, I don't know, what, 2001, 2004, 5, yeah, back.
So
back
psychologically, if you look at all of it from a psychological standpoint, if you keep on ingesting bad food, you keep on drinking unfiltered water, you keep on looking at your phone screen all the time for hours on end.
I'm gonna need a new skin suit sooner.
I mean, you got to understand what it's going to do to your psychological.
Yeah, I understand. It's not
how
good.
are you going to make good decisions?
Yeah.
And you could battle it like I have. We're all guilty of doing all the phones and the bad eating, and you know, but when
Can
you
you
take
stop it?
when you take action and you try to reverse the damage, it matters,
Does it work?
and it feels you feel better.
Yeah.
You feel as if you have a purpose to be here to
Got it.
find and help others, and then you just you almost like that positive reinforcement because you're just always out looking for positive.
Are you noticing a wave of positivity come across the United States lately, like over the last 6 months? Like there's some challenges through COVID and through the rest of that stuff, but
Yeah.
lately I've been seeing people much happier and much kinder. When I walk into stores, I don't do Walmart. The wife does Walmart. I won't go into Walmart.
Me either.
Super anxiety trip over the roof. But I walked into Walmart the other day and I saw everybody checking themselves out. And I was like, look at this. They all have little scan guns and checking their own groceries. I'm like, what happened here? I haven't been in a long time. But they're all self checkout. They're checking the guns out. But although it was very weird to me and different because I hadn't been there in a while, what was really cool is people are looking at each other again and people are smiling and saying hello. That went away for a long time. Everybody had their head down. They weren't talking to you. They weren't thinking about it. But lately, I feel like everybody's, and maybe that just goes back to what you're projecting too, right? Like you're a mirror. Life is a mirror. But it feels as though people are starting to smile more and keep their head up, and there's an undertone of positivity coming back, which I like.
Oh, and I think we're approaching a time. You know, you have election coming up, right? I think
Politics? You want to
you're
get into politics on a podcast?
you,
Great.
you're. I mean, I don't want to talk about it. I don't. I'm not for left or right.
Yeah.
I'm more middle.
Tell you what,
But-
hold that thought for 1 second. We're gonna take a little break, cut the tape real quick, keep them in 20-minute segments. That way, it's a little easier to transfer and process.
Oh, you're talking.
I learned trying to run like an hour podcast on one file, like buffering.
It's a lot of editing you have to do
Go ahead
too.
and
You
cut
have
it
to
down,
kind of.
Renee. All right, we're back. Human Connections, episode 11. Still here with Bradley. We're all over the board. That's what we're supposed to be. I think it's always fun when you get somebody behind a camera and behind a microphone. How you feel when you start, and then how you feel as you get into it, and kind of the cameras disappear and the mics disappear, the
100%.
comfort level, and you just kind of start talking. I think for me, that is what I'm trying to portray here, right? This is supposed to be
Absolutely.
comfort. There's no agenda. I don't have an agenda. You don't have an agenda. Some things you like to say, you'd like to get off your chest, to be heard. You know, I think one of the things about the attention society that we're in today is everybody wants to be heard. And at some point, there's been a time where just be, and I gotta say this carefully, but, and all, so it doesn't get cut up the wrong way, but just because you have a voice doesn't necessarily mean you have something meaningful to say, right? That
Right.
there are people that say things that are ill-intended or mean-spirited, or right, there are things that you can say that doesn't mean you should have you should be saying them, or at least I don't feel that you should be saying them. I can never say what's absolute or right or absolutely wrong. It's your life, do what you want. But everybody gets this social media thing is giving everybody a platform to say whatever you want. So if you have the ability to say what you want, and this is going to go out in front of a lot of people, what would be those best things that you can put out there? And I think that that's why you attach to the positivity and the mentorship and the things that make you feel better about yourself or teach you how to grow. Or,
Yes.
you know, I'm stuck in a loop on TikTok. I have a TikTok loop that'll blow your mind. I literally use it as a meditation device at this point. So they're like, TikTok's going to ruin the world. It could, if you're on the wrong stream, right? You get your algorithm wrong. You know, you end up on X TikTok, and you're like, what? How did I get here? But you get your algorithm right. There's nights that I go home. It knows me so well now. I'll be having a bad day. It must have listened to me all day, and I'll sit down, and it'll just start feeding the positive affirmation loops to me. And
That's
and,
what
and I'll
that
start
is the
washing
key. That I mean, when you get out of drugs and alcohol,
it. Yeah,
that's what you live for is those
yeah,
positive affirmations. You're just looking for that. And you're trying to put that out because
yeah.
that inspires you to be better.
Right.
And it's so simple to just live sober and just enjoy that, but it takes time. It doesn't just, it's not overnight, and you have to get all that crap out of you, and you have to, you know, endure the pain.
Yeah.
And people, it's so easy just to go back to comfort.
Yeah. very easy. And there's a lot of groups that are together now, and I see definitely a flow of people quitting drinking online too, right? Like people that are struggling or challenging with things, stop drinking, they stop doing drugs.
And we need to
And
encourage
maybe
that. We
maybe
need
it's
to
an age thing too. Maybe I'm of an age, and it's like the 30s and 40s where people start going, stop. Like, okay, we're just done. This was been fun and all, but it's not helping me anymore.
right. Yeah, like we were talking about the children. It's like some children they get it at a certain age and they go back to doing what's right and they know it's right, and then some children just they don't, they stray, and they're just gone, and it's sad, but it's just the reality of life.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got 8 billion people on the planet, so you want to set out to help everybody and be altruistic and try and do your best by everybody, and it's different. It's hard. It's weird. People really are self-serving. I probably learned it more in the last month than I have ever. I read that book by Ayn Rand, Selfishness as a Virtue, and came to
Wow.
realize that selfishness isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like taking care of yourself is okay. I mean, you spend your entire life trying to take care of everybody else. You spend a long time trying to take care of everybody else. You forget about yourself. And if you forget about yourself, then ultimately you can't take care of yourself anymore, and it turns out bad for you. You got to go back to figure out how to take care of yourself. So it's a weird thing, but it's important. Exercise, eating right, the things that you're saying are not wrong. It's helpful.
And of course, I think the main thing that I want to really say, the pinnacle to all of it, is
for you,
for me, is having that belief system in
Your faith.
Faith.
Yeah, I've been coming across a lot of people with strong faith. I tell every one of them, there's a God, he's chasing me right now. I feel it every which way from Sunday, right? Like everybody who has stepped up and helped me and things have happened, everybody's very religious. People I'm running into used to not be that way.
Well, God has so much grace, he has so much grace and mercy, and he knows you just like he knows me. He knows exactly what we're going to do. He knows the beginning to end. That's simple.
Have you seen any of those videos on like God is like the pineal gland?
Of course,
Have you
of
seen
course.
those?
I was, and that's why when I was smoking a lot of weed, and I was like, oh man, I got to get into this. I got to go to the Burning Man and do DMT.
Right.
No, and once I figured out, once I found a solid church here in Vegas, it's called Sunrise Bible Church.
Yeah.
And the pastor there just hit my soul.
Speaks
he just says, this new age stuff that they're pushing out with drugs, and if you look back at the cult and the rituals, and they always use alcohol and weed to tap into the spirit realm, whatever they call that spirit realm.
Yeah.
But he says it's truly demons.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow.
And they actually came out with a new scientific study. Scientists are going to research the DMT realm.
Yeah, they're actually loading people up for like 20 minutes at a time and like keeping them there.
But that was the first study.
Yeah.
Now they're doing a study where they're going to drip feed a patient,
I saw.
and they can stay in this realm for hours.
Have a good time.
And so they're going to explore this realm, because every single person that does this
sees the same thing.
sees the same thing.
Gotta say, there is something to that.
There's another world. It's a spiritual world.
There may be like 100 worlds. Who knows?
Well,
we're gonna find out.
We're gonna find out either way.
So you're in Vegas.
Yeah.
You've got a 4-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Eating right, fitness.
Yeah.
Positive affirmations. These are all things. Faith. These are all things keeping you on track. You got a podcast you've started. You got a podcast you started, or just a YouTube channel?
YouTube channel.
So you got a YouTube channel. You're recording stuff for it from your phone.
It's called Pyramid by Design.
Pyramid by Design. Okay.
Yep.
So Pyramid by Design. You're doing this. It's something that's inspiring you and keeping you motivated and on the right track. And what does 10 years down the road look like for you?
I ask that question every day.
Great. Just
And
keep asking.
I see myself focusing on every week, month, year, and planning it out, having goals and writing it down, and having a goal in mind of what I want to do. For me, I think you can accomplish anything you want. You just have to stay healthy, stay fit, you have to stay ready,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever sets your soul on fire, that's what you're going to do. And I personally, you know, I'm I'm thinking about actually becoming, you know, something to do with police.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. Law enforcement.
Yep.
All right. Law
And
enforcement's good.
yeah, I want to help, you know, and I want to be
Isn't it?
assistance.
Isn't it weird that like, yeah, I think I said that on one of the earlier versions. Is innately we have this empathy and compassion to just want to help people continuously, always.
Hmm.
So sometimes you pick fields that do that, whether it's a nurse, doctor, firefighter, teacher, coach, anything like
And
that.
that was part of the reason why I joined the military. I want to help others. I want to be a part of a team
Yeah.
that wants to go in there and do what's right, whatever that looks like.
I like that. I can get down with that. So it would seem that, how old are you now? 28?
27.
27? So
Yeah.
10 years ago, close to 10 years ago, so close when I started to work with Brandon. You got to meet Brandon, right?
I have,
Did you meet Brandon?
I believe.
I worked with? Yeah, you guys were similar close in time when I was working with you guys. Two different, came from two different places, but you and Brandon, so you're 20 now, and you're on a good path. What, let me ask you a question. Hindsight. Why, what made you reach out to me after so long?
Well, you know, I think I'm inspired by, well, I know I'm inspired by what you just continually prove by your actions, you know, and that is a character that is unique, and it really impacted me to really look at my life and say, you know, w- that type of pressure and that type of, you know, commitment and achievement you've done, it really shows me like creativity is possible, and when you believe in yourself, you can do anything.
That wasn't a loaded question. I appreciate that. That was very kind.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've accomplished a damn thing, just so you know. So whatever,
Well,
whatever the world is seeing, it's a set. But no, you're right. I mean, when I say you're right, when you say you don't quit, you don't stop until you achieve your goals or objectives, even if there's not. Give up. You know, giving up's not the answer. The only, you know, just can't give up. Keep driving towards whatever you want. So
Yeah.
you're watching some sort of consistency that you've seen in me that
right.
is an admirable trait, and you're kind of like, I want to reach back out to Chad. And
Yeah, and
he's
I
still
I
doing
have
it.
that totally
Yep.
ingrained in my DNA too. I'm like,
Got it.
that's how I operate too. I don't quit on things. I always have longevity, and I have that in mind whenever I do something.
Got it.
And I always see you working on something, and it's like you're always trying to make an impact for the better. And when I see the mentor stuff, and I connect with that, I'm like, what does that look like in my life? How could I be a mentor in somebody's life? Why do you even want to be a mentor?
Yeah.
Well, bottom line is I want to, you know, be an example for my son.
Attaboy. Best thing you could have said, right?
Yeah.
I think somebody said nobody wants their children to be better than them outside of their father and mother. Like they're the only two people in the world that want their children to be better than them, right? You compete against everybody in life. And in most things, I wouldn't say everything, but you compete against a lot. I think that trying to show compassion and love and honesty and openness and authenticity. I think Brian, who used to run the boards for me here, I gotta catch up with Brian. I don't know. I think he's somewhere else now. We closed down the limousine company, backed it down, so I lost a lot of a lot of the team members that we had. But when he used to say, I was like, Brian, what do you take from this that's happening? Because we don't know exactly what this looks like when it's all done. We just know I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, it's a place. He goes, so far what I'm seeing is, it's a place where men can be vulnerable. He goes, I've never seen a place where men can sit down and have a conversation and be vulnerable. And I don't know if it's just happening naturally, like through the world, but I'm starting to see it more and more too. Like men being honest with each other, even women being honest with each other. So creating that kind of a space where you can have an honest conversation about what's really going on and the hardships, I think is huge. I definitely feel better when I walk away from it.
100%. It's like a celebration, and we should celebrate the fact that we have the ability to do this, and reach whoever is listening, and maybe impact their life in a positive way. But that's how they take it. Some people could look at this and be mad.
What happens with this? Like, let's look at this. So everybody wants a podcast. Like, everybody's podcast. I got 2 or 3 people just called me and said, I saw your post, Chad. I see you have a podcast set up. We want to do a podcast. Can we come check it out? See how you do it?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have the mentor logo on the wall if I wasn't going to help you or teach you. Like, whatever you want. If I've done it, it's yours. It's free. I don't care. And so how does this play out? So everybody's got a podcast all of a sudden. Is it good? Is it bad? I've always wanted to walk through that, and I haven't yet. But one of the things that I think about is, what if this is how we start communicating with each other again? What if it took technology and everything we've gone through with it, and then going back to it, and then ultimately being able to communicate with each other again like we're communicating with each other now? How often do you sit down and have a conversation with somebody like this anymore?
Maybe through coffee, but not this long.
Okay, so what if this is that, getting back to it? How beautiful would that be? Is that everybody's got a podcast? Like, hey, come on my podcast, come on my podcast, come on my podcast. I don't want to go outside anymore. I don't want my phone to ring. I don't know. I've changed, right? Things are different now. I'm trying to find peace and harmony and balance in my life, and I'm not as busy as I once was. And these kind of interactions are way better. So I don't go over to a friend's house anymore. But if somebody called me and was like, hey, come over and be on the podcast, let's talk. Like, yeah, I'll come over. And then all of a sudden you're doing the same exact thing you would have 20 years ago when you just go over to your friend's house and hang out and sit down and talk.
100%. Yeah. And, I think as, 27 years old, and I got like a lot of energy and I'm just ready to go, right?
Yeah.
What my vision is of podcast is like, why not do something and go, let's say, what I'm envisioning right now is you go out camping and you bring all your podcast gear that you would need to do a podcast. Mm-hmm. And you literally have a background that is in nature.
Yeah.
And you just having a beer or cigar or whatever you might want to do.
Yeah.
And you're just around a campfire and you're doing a podcast. And it's like you're just enjoying the moment, but you're also trying to connect and figure out, how can I be creative in this moment?
It's funny you say that, because I'm seeing all these people that are like preppers. They're out, they're prepping, they're living in the woods, they're in their trailer, right? And then they're on TikTok showing everybody. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, is it because you're so lonely out there? You're trying to reconnect with people again? It's all I can think, because I love the woods. I love being disconnected. Yeah. I love going out there. But there comes a moment, and my wife will tell you, she's like, are you done yet? Like, how quiet do you need it to be? And you have to, you don't have to. It feels good to reconnect with people. It feels good to reconnect with good people. So just living off the grid, like, isn't the answer. She's like, you just can go live off the grid forever. It's like things go bad. And I'm like, yeah, I'll just go live off the grid and get my bug out bag and let's go. And she's like, okay, come back when you need like some of the fundamentals. I can make you some food. Like, because just living in isolation isn't an answer.
Right.
Which means we have to make society better. Right? We have to be the proponents of that, but we have to actually take the actions to do it. So when you say take the actions, these are those actions. If we're not the ones doing it, who's going to do it? You're not going to sit back and wait for people to do it. Just start. And if everybody just keeps doing it, it just gets better and better. And that's what I'm excited about for the future, is the world keeps getting better and better if we all just keep doing more of this.
Yeah, and you could bring people together and you could make it an event
Hmm.
that you always meet up on that particular day, and it's a
Right.
podcast there,
Yeah.
and whether you have a couple guests or just a few, and it's just everybody enjoying the time, and it could be on the beach, it could be a podcast. Creativity should be anywhere you want in the world.
Yeah, I think it
You
can
can
be
have
now.
a podcast anywhere, sit down,
Where's yours
enjoy.
gonna be?
I haven't really thought about that. I mean,
All right. Well,
I,
think about
I,
it.
I I like to think that mine would be,
You need-
on a beach, or
Maybe you should go
maybe in
run.
the mountains.
Maybe you
or
should go run with David next time you see him and let him kick you a few times. You'll
I
figure
try.
it
I
out.
try to catch up to him. One
You tried to
time.
catch up to
It's
him?
hard. It's hard, man. He's fast.
Seriously, you did?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I parked my car. I videoed him. I said, "Hey, man, you're motivation."
Yeah.
He said, "Stay hard." I said, "Oh shit!" So oh, sorry.
Very fun.
So I parked the car. I try to go find him, and I start running. I couldn't catch him. He was
That's
gone.
awesome. That's awesome.
But
Well,
I
catch
started
up to
running.
him. Catch up to him next time. So, so this number one, it was good to have you on. It's just the
Yeah.
beginning. This is only the start.
Exactly.
I plan on doing and maybe you can help me with this. So this is the first one back. It's been 5 months. We recorded the first 10. This is episode 11. I think that moving forward, I don't know if we're gonna get like a fake fireplace here. I didn't sound great.
You got an ice machine?
No, but that's what it sounded like, huh? So I don't have a fake fireplace here or something, but I think I'm gonna do. DM Mentor Empire. Direct message Mentor Empire, or DM me. I don't know how it worked out that way, but it did. So I'm going to do a DM me, and if someone's having an issue, or they have some questions, or they need some mentorship, or they're looking, for some insight on something that maybe it's possible that I've done or haven't done or have experience with, or I know somebody that has, whatever it is, I'm looking at doing a DM. So you could just DM me, and then I'll say, hey, Bradley, just DM me, or maybe it's anonymous, and hey, all right, I just got a DM from this person, and then kind of talk through that situation. And so it could be random, it could be somebody who was actually there, but I'm thinking about doing that continuously, on kind of like a daily basis, to kind of fulfill my soul of my ability to want to help others, and do that on this set. So that's something I'm thinking about doing. Is that
That sounds unique.
yeah, different, but again, just something to take up some time and make sure that I'm helping every day, or at least attempting to help every day. My little bit of prayer, if you will, or meditation is helping. So we're gonna start doing that on here, and then I'm gonna be looking forward to you having a podcast soon, and your YouTube channel, and with your son. And I would say more than anything, it goes quick, like everybody says. There's nothing new under the sun. Nothing old is new. Nothing new is old. Just enjoy that time, because the time we spend with others, the relationships we make, are the most important pieces.
That is.
We can talk about a million other things, but at the end of the day, it's just a thought. It's just a concept. It's just an opinion based on our reality and what we've gone through. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong, left or right, black or white, yin and yang. But man, just enjoy the crap out of it. It's good to see you're doing well, and
Yeah.
hopefully
And
we'll
it's
have
good to
on
see you,
again.
doing
Yeah.
this and fulfilling your soul, because this is what your soul's calling you to do,
Yeah.
and you have to figure out what is the next fulfillment, even though that you have everything that your soul just called for.
Yeah.
And we all battle with that. We all are trying to figure out what's that next fulfillment.
Yeah. I think that anybody who knows me always knows I'm into something new, or doing something different, or on to the next. This might be my stopping point. This might be just where I just sit in comfort and say, all right, let's chill. Let's talk about what's happened. Let's talk about the future. Let's
Well-
pass that knowledge on to the rest.
Not making a decision is a decision.
Yeah, true.
You're making a decision to let things pass by, but allowing yourself to make room for that next opportunity that says, this sets your soul on fire. This is going to make you move in a direction that you, every minute of the day, you're just like, yeah, I got my phone and I'm getting blown up, but I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. So what do you say to the camera and the microphone on the way out of here? Do you want to leave with the world, just in case the world ends up hearing this?
I think I want to say is make your decisions on the best. Make your decisions on the best possible. What am I trying to say here?
I think what you're trying to say is you want people to just think about what they're doing before they just do it. Make sure it's positive for everybody. There's a saying that my father taught me. And it was actually when I was inside. He said, "Do what's right, whether it benefits you or not." And that has been one of the hardest things in my life to follow, but I have. Do what's right, whether it benefits you or not.
That's solid. That's solid. And I think I was just trying to get to is just like be the best you possibly can be and just find your path in this life and allow yourself to embrace it and don't give up.
Nice. All right. That's Bradley Louder. Episode 11. No, it's Human Connections 11. We don't say episodes. Human Connections. And we're out.
We're out.